Minister Najib Abdul Razak and First Lady Rosmah Mansour conclude their official visit to Maldives. Maldives and Malaysia signed 4 key agreements as part of the official visit of Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Abdul Razak, to Maldives. And President Yamin states that top priority of his administration is achieving economic resilience.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nasma Abdul Muhsin and this is PSM News. Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak and First Lady Rosmah Mansour conclude their official trip to Maldives. The Malaysian Prime Minister and First Lady were seen off at Velana International Airport by Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Muhammad Asim and Minister of Home Affairs Aznain Ahmed. During the 2-day visit, Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak took part in various activities hosted by the Maldivian government.
On arrival at Izzuddin Jetty, the Prime Minister and First Lady of Malaysia were greeted by President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum and First Lady Fatmat Ibrahim, where they observed a cultural item by students. President Yamin then accompanied the visiting Prime Minister to the saluting dais and a 7-gun salute was offered, followed by which national anthems of Malaysia and Maldives were played. Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak then proceeded to inspect a guard of honor by Maldives National Defence Force. At the official welcoming ceremony, the Malaysian Prime Minister was introduced to the cabinet ministers and the other senior officials of the Maldivian government. The members of the Malaysian delegation were then introduced to President Yamin. President Yamin and Prime Minister Najib then walked to the President's office with cultural procession. At the President's office, Maldives and Malaysia signed 4 key agreements to enhance cooperation provided to Maldives by Malaysia. Prior to signing ceremony, President Yamin and Malaysian Prime Minister had a one-to-one meeting at the President's office. After the meeting, President Yamin and Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak gave a joint press statement. Official talks were also held between the government of Maldives and the government of Malaysia. Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak, First Lady Rosmah Mansour and the Malaysian delegation concluded the activities of the visit by attending a luncheon hosted by President Yamin and First Lady.
Maldives and Malaysia signed 4 key agreements as part of the official visit of Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Abdul Razak, to Maldives.
The key agreements signed between Maldives and Malaysia were in the fields of education, health, firefighting and culture. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Muhammad Asim and Malaysian Deputy Prime Minister of Foreign Affairs Rizal American 9 American signed the Memorandum of Understanding to establish a Maldives Cultural Centre in Malaysia. Minister of Defence and National Security Adam Sharif and Malaysian Minister of Urban Wellbeing and Local Government Noor bin Haji Umar signed the Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation in the field of firefighting and rescue training. Minister of Education Dr. Aishat Shiham and Malaysian Minister of Higher Education Idris bin Juso signed the Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation in the field of higher education. Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim and Malaysian Minister of Health Subramaniam K.V. Satasivam signed the Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation in the field of health. President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum and the Malaysian Prime Minister witnessed the signing ceremony. Prior to the signing ceremony, President Yamin and the Malaysian Prime Minister had a one-to-one meeting at the President's office. Official talks were also held between the Government of Maldives and the Government of Malaysia.
President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum states that the top priority of his administration was achieving economic resilience. The President further noted that the newly introduced Special Economic Zones framework provides special economic incentives and introduces a flexible environment for mega investments in the Maldives. President Yamin made the remarks during the joint press statement with the Malaysian Prime Minister.
Speaking at the official talks, President Yamin underscored that foreign direct investments was imperative for private sector development and boost overall economic growth. Moreover, President encouraged investors from Malaysia to take up such opportunities to forge meaningful and mutually beneficial partnerships with the Maldives. During the talks, President proposed the facilitation of a youth exchange program for Maldivian and Malaysian youth to share experiences and to learn from each other's culture.
Over the years, Maldives has benefited immensely from the excellent educational opportunities available in Malaysia, and Malaysia's contribution to human resource development in Maldives has been remarkable. The MOU we just signed on higher education will further enhance our higher education opportunities for our students. As our two countries are well-known tourism destinations, we discussed the potential for win-win cooperation in the area of tourism and hospitality and agreed to work closely in this area. Maldives and Malaysia have been collaborating closely in addressing global issues. Malaysia has been a reliable, consistent and a staunch supporter of Maldives. The Prime Minister and I discussed key international issues of mutual concern and decided to cooperate more closely at the United Nations.
The Malaysian Prime Minister shared some of the administration's key strategies towards making government and state services even more accessible to the people and highlighted that the Malaysian businesses are currently investing in the Maldives and looking towards further key investments and projects in the Maldives. The Prime Minister noted that Malaysia places a great emphasis on infrastructure and the development, including public housing, underlining that both countries are suited as development partners.
In the field of tourism, we are so impressed, despite the onerous challenges of developing so many islands, but you have succeeded beyond expectation. You have brought some of the big names to operate hotels in the Maldives. You have overcome the challenges of logistics, and you have developed the Maldives as a major global tourist destination. So we like to study how you have achieved that, and I hope there will be opportunities for Malaysian companies to partake in the investment of your tourist development.
During the talks, President Yamin and Malaysian Prime Minister emphasized that Malaysia and Maldives can be an example of what true and peaceful values of Islamic faith stands for.
First Lady Fatmat Ibrahim meets First Lady of Malaysia Rosmah Mansur at Muliage as part of the official visit of Prime Minister of Malaysia Najib Abdul Razak to Maldives. At the meeting, First Lady Fatmat Ibrahim and Malaysian First Lady visited Fiawati Shelter for Children in Hulumale. During the visit, First Lady Fatmat Ibrahim and Rosmah Mansur toured Fiawati Shelter and viewed children's art displays and Maldivian cultural displays at the shelter. As part of today's visit, a donation was handed over by Dr. Muhammad Maliki bin Muhammad Rafi of the Malaysian International Youth Centre to Fiawati Shelter. The CEO of Fiawati, Fatmat Chiama, accepted the donation on behalf of the shelter. The Fiawati shelter is a two-story building with 12 rooms where all facilities are separated for girls and boys. President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum states that the preservation of the country's Islamic faith and values was a religious and national duty of all Maldivians. The President made the remark in his address on the occasion of the day the Maldives embraced Islam. In his message, President Yamin has stated that the Islamic faith of the Maldives was the greatest blessing bestowed upon the country by Allah Almighty. In this regard, the President has urged all Maldivians to put forward the ambition to solidify the Islamic spirit and to uphold Islamic principles. President Yamin has also appealed to everyone to be vigilant of any internal or external pressures Maldives may face in an effort to weaken the Islamic faith of Maldivians.
Lumun Icon Shower Cream Filuade Bacteria Icon Shower Cream Fembaralum Furihamofa Lumun Icon Shower Cream Filuade Bacteria Icon Shower Cream Fembaralum Furihamofa
The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank AIIB announces that its Board of Governors had approved the Cook Islands, Vanuatu, Belarus and Ecuador as new members of the bank. The addition brings AIIB's total approved membership to 84.
According to AIIB President Jin Ali Kung, the steady expansion of the membership represents a vote of confidence in AIIB by the international community. The 4 prospective members will officially join AIIB once they complete the required domestic processes and deposit their first installment of capital with the bank. The shares allocated to the new prospective members come from the AIIB's existing pool of unallocated shares. Since its launch in January 2016, AIIB's approved membership has risen from 57 to 84, expanding reach within Asia and across the world. AIIB Vice President and Corporate Secretary Sir Denny Alexander said that as they start their 3rd year of operations, they look forward to further expanding their membership and strengthening their role in the international financial community. Headquartered in Beijing, the AIIB is a multilateral development bank focused on infrastructure investment with a mission to improve social and economic outcomes in Asia and beyond. The AIIB approved a $250 million loan for a natural gas project in China and a $335 million loan for an electric metro project in India.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets kin of Cyclone Oki hit victims in India's southern Kanyakumari city and assured them the government will leave no stone unturned to find the fishermen who went missing after the calamity struck.
Cyclone Oki ravaged India's southern Kerala and Tamil Nadu state last month before barreling into Lakshadweep on December 2, claiming at least 70 lives. Hundreds, including many fishermen, went missing in the wild seas, prompting authorities to launch frantic search operations. Reportedly, 105 people are still missing. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with the chiefs of Kerala and Tamil Nadu to review the situation in the aftermath of cyclone and met affected residents, fishermen and public representatives. The federal government will dispatch financial aid worth $50 million to the devastated states. India is one of the most disaster-prone nations in the world, and many of its 1.32 billion people live in areas vulnerable to hazards such as flood, cyclones and droughts. Its cyclone season generally lasts from April to December, with severe storms often causing dozens of deaths, evacuations of tens of thousands of people from low-lying villages, and widespread crop and property damage.
Authorities in New Delhi conduct a trial run of anti-smog gun in one of its most polluted areas as the Indian capital looks at ways to combat its annual pollution crisis.
Anti-smog gun is a machine that sprays atomized water into the air and is expected to bring down pollution levels. The anti-smog gun, shaped like a hairdryer and mounted on a flatbed truck, was tested in Anand Vihar area of New Delhi. Delhi Environment Minister Imran Hussain said they will observe the difference in pollution levels, if any, after the trial run. Hussain added that the anti-smog gun will be rolled out in the streets of New Delhi if it turned out to be successful. According to US Embassy measure, the level of PM 2.5 stood at 408, which is 8 times the upper limit of good quality air at 50. This is an improvement over last week when the pollution levels climbed to 12 times above the recommended limit. A combination of farmers burning the stubble of previous crop to prepare for their new planting, industrial pollution, vehicle exhaust and dust envelop northern India, including New Delhi, as winter approaches and wind speed drops, contributing to the hazardous smog.
The European Union urges Myanmar to release as quickly as possible the 2 Reuters reporters arrested last week.
Addressing a news conference, European Commission spokesman called on Myanmar authorities to release the 2 journalists.
I would like to draw your attention to a statement issued yesterday by our colleagues from the European External Action Service on the arrest of 2 Reuters journalists in Myanmar. Through this statement, we state that we expect the Myanmar authorities to ensure the full protection of their rights and to release the journalists as quickly as possible.
31-year-old Wan Lon and 27-year-old Kyo So-woo were arrested last Tuesday evening after they were invited to dine with police officers on the outskirts of the Myanmar's largest city, Yangon. Little is known of the allegations against the 2 journalists other than that police said that they were arrested for possessing important and secret government documents related to Rakhine State and security forces. The European Commission spokesman noted that freedom of press and media is the foundation and a cornerstone of any democracy.
Freedom of the press and media is the foundation and the cornerstone of any democracy.
Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi states that he would take action if any citizen was attacked in the country's northern semi-autonomous Kurdistan region.
Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi told his weekly news conference that he would not stand by idly if any citizen is attacked. Iraqi state television reported that 3 people were killed and more than 80 wounded as Kurdish protesters took to the streets on the second day of violent and unrest amid tensions with Baghdad. About 1,250 protesters, mostly teachers, students and civil servants, went out to protest in the city of Sulaymaniyah. The Sulaymaniyah Provincial Council told Reuters that 3 people were killed during the clashes with Kurdish security forces in the town of Rania, while regional health officials said 6 people were injured when the crowd was shot at with rubber bullets and sprayed with tear gas by security forces.
According to an expert, the decision by U.S. Vice President Mike Pence to postpone his trip to the Middle East from this week to mid-January 2018 is to avoid rising more tensions in the region after President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
The White House announced on Monday that Pence would hold off on making the trip, which was scheduled for Wednesday, for a second time in order to see through the tax reform bill in the Senate. However, experts say it has been overshadowed by Trump's Jerusalem decision, which has led to condemnation and protest in the region. U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital on December 6 initiated strong protest in the Palestinian region and surrounding Arab countries, especially ahead of Pence's visit. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said earlier that he would not meet Pence and that Palestine Liberation Organization PLO called for its supporters to hold large demonstrations in Jerusalem on Wednesday. Chairman of Palestine Academic Society for the Study of International Affairs, Mahdi Abdul Hadi, said Pence's postponement is for one side to avoid the current protests, while for another side to give more time for the Trump's administration to restore its frayed relations with Arab countries in the Middle East.
It's American-Israeli relationship. He cannot dance alone in the region with Israel. This will expose him more and more as an enemy, as affiliated, associated with occupiers and colonizers. And Americans don't want it. Thirdly, they want to leave a space to reconsider their position vis-à-vis the negotiation and the peace process.
However, an Israeli political analyst Gil Hoffman said whether Pence visits the region or not, it may not change the U.S. government's related policies or change the Palestinian-Israeli situation. He considered the decisive side to be Palestine.
They have to grow up and come back to the negotiating table. I don't know whether it'll be the visit of Pence that will bring that about, or some other American dignitaries who will be coming here, but or maybe the Saudis, Abbas meeting with the Crown Prince there in Saudi Arabia, that will get the Palestinian leadership back on track, but they have no choice.
Just a day before Pence deferred the visit, the U.S. vetoed a resolution by the United Nations Security Council on the state of Jerusalem. Hadi said that the decision by the U.S. to use its veto power showed that it fully supports Israel, leading to more fierce confrontations with Palestine. He regarded this as a possible reason for Pence to postpone his visit.
Now, when Americans veto it, Americans are telling the world, I don't care, which means violating international law, which means isolating itself from the consensus.
Lumung Icon Shower Cream Filuade Bacteria Icon Shower Cream Pembaralam Furihamofa. Lumung Icon Shower Cream Filuade Bacteria Icon Shower Cream Pembaralam Furihamofa.
Atletico Madrid reports Barcelona to FIFA for an illegal transfer approach for Antoine Griezmann.
The French forward, who has been linked with the Catalan club in Spanish media as Barcelona director Guillermo Amor, told Movista that President Josep Maria may have made contact with Griezmann's family, who are his representatives, over a potential move. Atletico told Reuters that the club have presented a complaint about Barcelona for repeated contact between Barcelona, the player and his people. Barcelona, who have been issued with one-year transfer ban in 2014 for signing underage players by World Football governing body FIFA, did not respond when asked for comment. FIFA said they had received the complaint from Atletico but had no further comment at this stage.
A new charity aims to help people sleeping rough in the United Kingdom with the launch of a vending machine for homeless people.
Through a partnership with supermarkets and shops, Action Hunger will offer products including food, toiletries and books through a vending machine which will be available for 24 hours for homeless people. The first machine has been installed in Nottingham in northern England.
Realised that something is missing from the jigsaw of care, and that bespoke absent piece was a vending machine, and that's where the concept came from.
The vending machine is activated by a key card distributed to homeless people by one of the charity partner organizations. 3 items can be collected a day and 100 key cards will be handed out initially. The charity plans to set up a second machine in Manchester in January 2018, and the expansion plan includes London, Seattle, Los Angeles and New York.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Have a very pleasant night.
ನಜಾಹತಿರಿಕಮಾಯ್ಕ್ ಆಯಿಲಾಯ್ ಬಿನಾ ಕುರ್ಮಕಿ ದೆ ದುನಿಯಾಗ ಬಾಜವರಿಕಮ ವರ ಮುಹಿಮ್ ಕಮೆ ದುನಿಯಾ ಆಹಿರತ್ಗೆ ಉಫಾವರಿಕಮ ಲಜ್ಜತಂಗ್ ಎದೆ ಮೀಹಾ ಎನಗೆ ದಿರಿಯುಳುಮುಗ ಎನ ಕುರ ಅಮಲ್ ತವಗ ಎನ ಇಖ್ಲಾಸ್ ತೆರಿವಾಣೆ ತೆದುವೆರಿವಾಣೆ ಅಮಾನತ್ ತೆರಿವಾಣೆ ಕೆತ್ತೆರಿವಾಣೆ ಮಿಹುರಿ ಅರಂಗಳು ಸಿಫತಹ ಕಾಯಕು ಎನಗೆ ದಿರಿಯುಳು ಎನಾಯ ಉಫಾವೆರಿ ಹಮಜೆಹೆ ದಿರಿಯುಳುಮಕ ವೆಗೆಂದಣಿ ಕ್ಯಾವೆನ್ಯ ಬಿನಾ ಕುರಾಯರು ನತ ಆಯಿಲಾಯ್ ಬಟ್ಟಂ ಕುರಾಯರು ನಜಾಹತಿರಿಕಮಕಿ ವರ ಮುಹಿಮ್ಮು ಕಮೆ ಮಿ ದೆಮಿಹುನ್ನಕಿ ಕ್ಯಾವೆನ್ಯಗ ಮಿ ಗುಳೆ ದೆಮಿಹುನ್ನಕಿ ಮುಳಿನ್ ತಫಾತ್ ದೆಮಿಹು ಎಮಿಹುಂಗೆ ಮಿಜಾಜ್ ತಫಾತ್